Right, it's time for a product review, and it's for my new brew kettle, which is the SS Brewtech kettle. This is the 10-gallon version. Just wanted to do like a little review of it, and also maybe do a little bit of brew day footage just to show some of the the features on the pot. Probably understand there's not a whole heap of stuff you can say about a brew pot, but I would definitely say this brew pot, out of the few brew pots I have owned, definitely has some great features. Firstly, the build quality of this is, I mean, for the money, I mean, people will look at them and probably think that it's quite pricey for what you're paying for, but I honestly think that once you've bought one of these, you wouldn't probably ever need to buy another kettle again, within reason, as long as you look after it. But I say, as long as you don't drop it, things like that. To be fair, if you drop this, I personally think the floor would suffer more than the pot. It feels really heavy gauge. It's weighty. Alone, I think I weighed it at about 6.5 kilos. So it's heavy enough on its own. It feels really thick as well. You just look at it, it looks class, and you feel it. You can tell that it's great quality. Inside, it's got, you can pick that up, just on the inner bit there is the graduation marks, going from 5 all the way up to 10 gallon, which I think is an excellent feature. You don't need a sight glass on the front of the pot, so it's another thing to harbour any nasties. Another thing you need to clean out, it's on the inside of the pot. And I think as long as you stick to the manufacturer's guidelines of cleaning it, and you have to do like the initial, you can do initial passivation with all their equipment, they won't come off. I think there's been a lot of speculation about how they put their markings on there, and I think they clear that up on their website, and they're acid etched or something like that into the pot. But I think if you use a specific type of cleaner, I think it's like Barkeeper's Friend or something, to clean the stainless, it can wear away them markings or sort of dull them. So they do say in their instructions, strict instructions, not to use things like that, because it could ruin the effect of the pot. The next thing is the handles. As you can see on the side, they're coated in like a silicone rubber, and that means that they're heat proof as well. So when you're lifting it up, not only are they non-slip, that they're not going to retained any heat from the pot that's been or the flame's been licking up the side of the pot. So that's another cool safety feature. It's many times I've picked something up with 2 tea towels or something like that, you've got that covered. The same applies to the lid. That's got one on the lid. And while we're on the handles, another feature of their pots is that the lid sits on the side of the pot, which may not seem like a wondrous thing, but believe me, it is. I think on brew day many times you pull the lid off, you think, oh, where to stick that? Just sticking it on the side of the pot while you're mashing in or whatever. Fantastic feature. They are also really heavy duty riveted into the side of the pot, and they're sort of on the inside there. They don't feel like they're going to come off anytime soon. Next thing, you obviously get 3-piece ball valve. One thing that I noticed is, well, at least on mine, you don't get the little barb that comes on the end. It's just the plain fitting. I don't know why. I think they leave it just like that so that you can add your own fit into it. So I already had a hose tail that I added on, but I think it would have been nice if it came with one, but it's not a major. You get a plug to plug up the hole that's here, but this is normally where your temperature gauge is going to go, which they're sold separately. So that just comes as like a little nut. There's a bolt on the inside, and there's a rubber washer that goes in between. And this ball valve it's a little bit different. The nut on the inside has like a very small kind of hole, and it takes a specific type of fitting, which is their trub dam, or trube dam if you want to say it. That just pushes in, so it sits like that in the brew kettle, and there's this little silicone rubber sort of sleeve that goes on the edge of that. I'll put it in the pot in a second. And basically, the idea being is that you run a whirlpool so that all the the tube and that and the hop debris are centered, when you're doing your runoff, this filters the wort and sort of allows it to channel around it so that you get less muck in your fermenter and leave most of the the tube behind. So I'll just pop that in, show you, so you can see that just sitting there. And what I plan to do tomorrow is run a brew through this. Probably just going to do a very small batch to start with, and try and just use pellets. I don't have the ability to do a whirlpool with a pump. I could do it, with a spoon, just spoon one round. But I just want to see kind of the dead space in the pot and how much it leaves behind and how well that that works. But again, it's really easy sort of push fit in. They are also for these pots making false bottoms. I don't believe you can get them on the Malt Miller website at the moment, but they are coming. I think they're in America for sure at the moment, but I guess they'll be heading this way soon. And as a company, they seem to keep bringing out more and more sort of, I say inventive things, but things that home brewers need and look for in equipment. And more importantly is the fact that we can now get some of this stuff from the UK by way of the Malt Miller, because up until now I think the UK is been a bit behind in what you can and can't get. And for the price point, there are other high-end pots out there that are almost 3 or 4 times the price of this, and for me, I don't see how you can get better than this. It's a premium pot. And the one other feature that I do want to talk about is the bottom. It says it has a Clad Bottom, and it's also suitable for induction heating. So it's almost like another little plate that's on the bottom. There's a little lip there, and there's this whole other plate on the bottom, and you can use it for induction systems. And I'm going to be doing another video for that separately, because I've purchased an induction heater, burner if you like, and I'll cover that in a whole other video. But it works on a totally different system to your normal sort of gas or electric. The pot is 42 centimeters high by 35 centimeters wide, and it's 37.8 litres. So I think I'm going to try and squeeze a brew in a bag, a full volume brew in a bag in here as well. But for the meantime, I'm going to do a little mini batch just to show you how the trub down works and when you do the runoff. So that's the first part of the video anyway. So it worked pretty well. You can see that most of the tube is in the centre, and you can see on the outer edge when it's not steaming, where it's sort of sucked the wort round and sort of funneled up through the back, and it's worked pretty well actually. And I didn't even whirlpool, didn't stir or nothing. And obviously, if you did manage to whirlpool, and you could create a better cone in the centre there. But I think the tube down works quite well actually as a hop filler. Right, so the concluding part of the review for the SS Brewtech kettle, I did a batch, 2 batches for it now. I've done one with pellets, which work really quite well. I don't have the facility to do a whirlpool. I kind of just stirred with a spoon as best I could, and it seemed to filter the pellets out really quite well. It sort of, I've got a little bit of footage that I'll try and tack onto this, where it shows that it drew all the wort sort of from the outer parts on the little tube dam. It gathered it from the sides, and it worked quite well. And I guess if you managed to create a decent whirlpool and have the good hop cone, it would, you'd probably get next to nothing in the fermenter once you drain off. Yesterday I did a full mash brew in a bag. Also did it on an induction burner, which works fantastic. I'm going to do a separate video on the induction burner that I've got using this kettle, but for this review, the pot is fantastic for that, and I can definitely see a way forward of induction brewing, because it was very efficient. The only downfall I had yesterday, I found, was I used whole leaf hops. Tried to create a little bit of a whirlpool, didn't quite manage it, and a leaf hop got stuck right in the little sort of holes there. I tried various things. I kind of blew through the pipe a little bit to get it out, and it dislodged it a bit. I didn't want to, start blowing too much air through my beer. But in the end, I got the auto siphon and tried to get it out with that, and managed to get there. But you know, the manufacturers do actually say on their site, you know, that you should create a whirlpool before drain off, and this has sort of been designed with that in mind. So you could say it's partly my fault for not, you know, creating that whirlpool a little bit better. But it does bring me on to the fact that at least on the American site, they've got another supplier, I think it's NorCal Brewing Suppliers, who have manufactured a stainless steel false bottom for them, which actually integrates with that. So there's like a stainless steel false bottom that's got a handle, and there's like a little hole coming up to allow this to go through. That comes up through the bottom, the whole false bottom goes into the kettle, that goes into its normal little hole. So you've then got a whole false bottom, which if it's used as a boil kettle will stop the hops and muck going through. Then you've got your sort of secondary filter, which is going to stop the finer stuff that gets through. But you know, it worked great with pellets. But once it had the whole leaf, there was more chance of it sort of getting stuck in that little pipe there. So I think once that, you know, that other filter comes along, I'll definitely grab one of them, because not only that, it would make it, you know, if you had two of the pots, you'd have one as your mash tun. A great false bottom for that. Or for me, what I'm thinking is it will create a great false bottom for when I use the bag in the boil kettle as my like full volume brew in a bag. I can apply some heat at the end of the mash to do a mash out, and not worry about scorching the bag on the bottom of the pot. So I'm actually looking forward to that coming out, because it's going to add sort of dual benefits to a system. With the induction burner, for me, it's looking to be an all-in-one setup for brewing the bag, and you know, I'm very happy with it. So I mean, it caused a little bit of heartache yesterday trying to get the beer out when that got hot, but you know, like I say, it could be partly my fault. Other than that, I really can't fault the pot. I mean, it cleaned up exceptionally well. There's no like scorching like they say. It looks as new as it was when it came. The markings work really well. Obviously they are in gallons. I have heard that they are going to start doing ones in literage. I read on a forum somewhere, so whether that will change in the near future, but you know, it's fine for me. I noted where I put my volumes in there and, you know, worked it out. It's not really much hardship, but it's nice having the markings in there, because they're in there permanently. You haven't got to worry about, you know, sort of once you know where your marking is from when you're filling up for your full mash, you know, it's perfect. You just fill it up and you're away. You know, I can't fault it. It is a good quality pot, and for me the biggest selling point is the price. To some probably does seem quite extortionate, I guess you could say, for what it essentially just is a pot. But there are, you know, the features like the silicone handles make it really good when you're picking it up for the heat. The induction part of it has sold it for me. That is, you know, that's for me, it's the new thing now. But there are much more expensive pots out there by other manufacturers. You know, I'm not naming names. That, you know, I don't see how you get better than this, past this, for the money, you know. And then if you're going to spend sort of 3 times the amount of what you would on this to get the same thing, then, you know, you'd be a fool not to go for this price point, because it seems high, but it's still cheap comparable to some of the other manufacturers out there. So I can't recommend it enough. You know, it feels weighty, feels solid. I can't see you ever needing to replace it again. And you know, if you wanted to have 3 of them on a setup, that'd be amazing, especially with the false bottoms coming out. You know, and they seem to keep bringing stuff out. You know, there seems to be a company that's constantly bringing these extra little bits out that you can add to it. So I'm really looking forward to what they bring out next. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me for this product. It's great. I can't say any more. Cheers.